I'm Dylan Oliver. Welcome to NFL Super Wildcard Weekend Review. In my prediction video, I predicted the Indianapolis Colts to go to Buffalo and upset the Bills. Unfortunately, this did not end up happening. When you look at the team's stats, it looks as if it should have been a runaway game for the Colts. They had more first downs, more plays run, more total yards, and nearly 10 more minutes of time of possession. But the Bills still somehow won this game with a score of 27-24. The Colts put up a very good fight against the favored Bills, but shot themselves in the foot way too many times throughout the course of this game, with missed kicks, missed tackles, a bad penalty in a key situation, and some big drops, ultimately giving the Bills the win. The duo of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs was phenomenal once again. This duo is quickly becoming a top 2 or 3 QB wide receiver combo in the league. Diggs had 6 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown. The trade for him this past offseason makes the Bills front office look better and better every week. Another player that makes the Bills front office look great is 2018 first-round draft pick Josh Allen. He took a 1 bad sack late in the game, but outside of that, he was great. He threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and completed about 74% of his passes during this game. Ever since he was drafted, all he's done is improve every year, and now in his 3rd season, he's a top 7 quarterback in this league, and has his team looking as if they're poised for a Super Bowl run. With this win, the Bills will host the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs next week. Now, before I move on to the game, I want to give a special tribute to Philip Rivers. Philip, you put up a great fight against this team, and you should be proud and be able to go home to your 27 children with your head held high. If you do retire this offseason, and this was your last game we ever see you play in, thank you for being such an inspiration for young Charger fans over the years. But if you need to play another year for the rest of your kids' college tuitions, that's cool too. Now on to the next game. The Rams and Seahawks had played 2 times already this season, and Saturday made it a 3rd. They both had won 1 game versus each other going into this playoff grudge match. The game would be played in Seattle, where the Seahawks have not lost a playoff game since the start of the Pete Carroll era in Seattle. That is until Sean McVay and his defense showed up on Saturday. Even with the QB issues for the Rams, they were able to come out and get the W. John Wolford started the game for the Rams, but after a shot to the head from Blitzboy, Jamal Adams, Jared Goff came in to play the rest of the game. The play from this QB was acceptable, but it wasn't anything outstanding. The Rams won this game with defense and a good rushing attack. Rams rookie running back Cam Akers ran the ball 28 times for 131 yards and a touchdown. The defense and run game allowed the Rams to control the time of possession in the game as well. This Rams defense was the number 1 defense in the regular season, and that continued this week, completely shutting down the Seahawks offense for most of the game. Even what's considered a safe pass, like a wide receiver screen, isn't safe against the ball-hawking defense of the Rams. The Rams defense made the game a nightmare for Russell Wilson, sacking him 5 times, playing suffocating coverage on the outside, and forcing turnovers. The Rams will now go on to play the rested, number 1 seeded Green Bay Packers in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. To finish off the night, we had prime-time football between 6-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus undrafted 5th-string quarterback making his 2nd ever career start, Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team. Is there much else I need to say? I think we all know who won this game. Tom Brady had another great performance, throwing for 381 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an 84.4 QBR. Former Jaguars running back Leonard Fournette also had a big-time performance in this game, rushing the ball 19 times, averaging just under 5 yards per carry for a total of 93 yards and a touchdown, as well as 4 catches and 39 yards to go along with that. Credit to Taylor Heinicke though. He played pretty well and kept the football team in this game throughout. The 5th string undrafted quarterback threw for just over 300 yards and nearly 50 rushing yards as well, and 2 total touchdowns. But in the end, the offensive firepower of Brady and the Bucs was just too much for Heinicke and the football team. The Bucs will be moving on to go back and play at the place their season started, which was the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, to play the Saints. Entering this game, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson had this narrative about him that he couldn't win in the playoffs. He entered the day 0-2 in playoff games and had a lot of pressure on him to deliver in this game. Early on in the game, it looked ugly for the Ravens after falling behind by 10 points early in this game. The moment looked too big for Jackson once again, but when he came out for his 3rd drive, he looked much more comfortable and ready to play football. After great defense and effective offense from the Ravens, this game was tied up before the first half ended. The Ravens' game plan coming into this game was very clear. It was stop Derrick Henry, and they did just that. Derrick Henry, the running back who ran for 2,000 yards in the regular season, was held to just 40 yards, averaging only 2.2 yards per carry during this game. The ground game for the Ravens was much more effective than that of the Titans, as they rushed for 236 total yards, as they went on to win this game and defeat the Tennessee Titans to get revenge after their matchup between the two teams in the divisional round of the playoffs last year and the game in Week 11 this past regular season. Finally, this win from Lamar Jackson has won his first career playoff game, and the false narrative that he can't win big, meaningful games can end. With the win, the Ravens will go on to play the Buffalo Bills next week. After watching this game and hearing the news about Deshaun Watson possibly wanting to get traded out of Houston, it became clear to me the Chicago Bears need to do anything they can to get him. Mitch Trubisky is not the answer for the Bears, and he never will be. The Bears just continuously waste great years of great defenses and talented wide receivers with bad play at the quarterback position. If the Bears could somehow work out a trade for Watson, it would instantly make them actual Super Bowl contenders. This game was over really after the first Saints touchdown. They scored and the Bears offense couldn't generate any offense the entire game, and it led to an easy win for the Saints. The Saints won this game with a score of 21-9. Drew Brees had a nice game, completing 70% of his passes and scoring 2 touchdowns. It was nice to see him throwing the ball to his number 1 receiver, Michael Thomas, again, for really the first time this season. Thomas had 5 catches for 73 yards and 1 touchdown. On the Bears side, not much went on. Jimmy Graham made a great catch in the 4th quarter as time expired for a touchdown, but outside of that, there was nothing. The ground game wasn't very effective, and neither was the passing game. The Bears certainly won't be winning the Lombardi Trophy this year, but at least Mitch Trubisky can go home with something. He went home with the Nickelodeon Valuable Player Award. That's right, this game was broadcasted on Nickelodeon, and there was a game award voted on by the fans, which Mitch would receive. Congratulations on your participation trophy, Mitch. As a Packer fan, I hope I see you on the Bears again next year. With the win, the Saints will now host their division rival, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, next week. Oh, how far you have fallen. Not long ago, you were an undefeated team with a dominant defense and a receiving core of young, athletic talent that had Super Bowl aspirations. The Steelers went from that to a very beatable team being blown through on defense with a receiving core full of TikTokers and a first-round playoff exit. This performance was pathetic.
you were outplayed in every aspect of the game by a team that has not been able to practice all week and didn't even have their head coach for this game due to coronavirus. The fall of the Steelers team was really something to watch week to week, and now they have completely crumbled. The Cleveland Browns came out and dominated this game from the very start. The turnover-forcing defense and stout run game got the lead up to 28-0 in the first quarter. Big Ben threw 4 interceptions this game, and none of the Steelers looked like they were ready to play. The Browns winning this game gives the franchise their first playoff win since the year of 1994. Baker Mayfield in this rushing attack to go alongside with him has finally brought the Browns back to glory and into the second round of the playoffs to play the Kansas City Chiefs in 1 week. As for the Steelers, they have all the time in the world for their TikToks now. This was a great week of playoff football, and now there's only 8 teams left fighting for that Lombardi Trophy. My name is Dylan Oliver, and I will see you next time.